Hello, everyone. Welcome. This is episode 20 of Museum Makers Live, new YouTube show here on YouTube, broadcasted live at the North Carolina Museum of Natural Sciences in downtown Raleigh. Welcome. This is a show where we, two science museum curators, talk about science, nature, technology, and answer any questions you have about any of those topics or any other topics, really, museums included, while we play Minecraft. Now, I'm new to Minecraft. Audrey, our other host here, curator here at the lab, has been playing for a good while. So the two of us have been working on different projects. The main project being recreating the entire museum inside of Minecraft, as you will soon see. We're going to try something a little bit different today and just focused on museum building. This is something we're going to experiment with. So there's going to be a lot of building, a lot of focus on the exhibits themselves. And the reason why we're doing this, not just so that you have something hopefully fun to watch and a place where you can get your questions answered, but also when we're done with this build, then we will release it online for anyone to download for free. Well, let me show you what we're dealing with here. I'm going to show you a couple pictures. I want you to get a good idea of what this museum looks like. So let me get into this view. There's Audrey. Hey, Audrey.
Hi.
And this is the North Carolina Museum of Natural Sciences. Specifically, this is the Nature Research Center, the building that you see there with the globe. That is the building that we are currently in. Over to the left there, connected to it via that glass bridge, is the Nature Exploration Center. These are the two main buildings in downtown Raleigh that you can visit. And what's really great about them is that they are completely free. You can just walk right in, explore all the exhibits, and do hands-on activities, talk to the staff, and you can even visit labs like the lab we're currently in. The lab that we run is called the Viz Lab. And this is what it looks like. It's a very eclectic lab. We have lots of digital exhibits covering different topics in science, from the very small to the very big, using technologies like touchscreens and projection mapping. But it's also a maker space that we use to build things. We have tools to build almost anything that you can think of. We use Arduinos, Raspberry Pis, 3D printing. In fact, if you hear a humming in the background, that's a 3D printer printing right next to me. Actually, I can show you right there. It's not focusing well, but you can see it moving there, printing for a very special event that we have coming up in just a couple of days. On Saturday is our the largest event that we have, called Bugfest. Audrey, would you like to talk about Bugfest a little bit?
Sure. So Bugfest is, yes, the largest event here at the museum, and something like the largest event dedicated to arthropods in something. I don't remember.
I think the whole country.
Bugfest is a really big deal here at the museum. And we have folks from all over the country who come and talk about bugs. And we have presenters. We also have people doing tables. But our biggest draw, well, maybe not the biggest draw, but one of the bigger draws is Cafe Insecta, which is a cook-off competition with insects and local chefs. So local restaurants and chefs, including our cafe here in the museum, will have a cook-off with a few different particularly challenging insects. And they have to cook a delicious meal using those bugs. And then the public is able to try it. So the public can have some roasted crickets, or a couple years ago there was mealworm gumbo. try to remember other things. But there's a ton of fun ways to interact with bugs. You can touch bugs, and you can just look at them if you want to. One of the events that I used to run when I was in high school was the Roachingham 500, which is a race in which you race a bunch of different hissing cockroaches through tubes, and then you get a prize if your cockroach wins. The cockroach you chose wins.
Did you say are those the hissing cockroaches?
Yes, they are.
Yeah. Yeah, so Bugfest is a lot of fun. Again, it's a free event. Even the Cafe Insecta, which I think they're doing again this year, is free, where you can actually, it's kind of like a buffet line, and they'll dish up various delicious foods filled with insects. And it's so very large. We get tens of thousands of people that come to this. Streets are closed down. There's live music and bouncy things and people selling their insect related wares, honey, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to get connected right now. I'm having some issues. Sorry, everyone. Gonna work this time? Have you connected?
I haven't tried, no. Yeah.
Should be fine. What the deal is.
I'm missing. Oh, you have Ants Unleashed turned on.
Well, I thought I had it turned off.
I can't get in because I have Ants Unleashed turned off.
Yeah, so Ants Unleashed is turned off. It's installed, but it's turned off. And so I had to turn it off on mine. So on the server, it's turned off.
Try restarting Minecraft, yeah.
Make sure that's it. Try this again. And so this is a really good opportunity for anyone who's interested in museums or science or nature or technology to ask us any questions that you might have throughout the entirety of this stream. The topic today, as you may have seen from the thumbnail, or from the title, is Bottomlands. We're going to talk about what that is here in a moment after I get there. Well, let's do it. All right, I'm going to restart the server. Just be enough to check things, uninstall it.
No, you shouldn't have to uninstall anything.
No LAN, multiplayer. The name is already okay. All right, let's redo this. Sorry for the technical issues, everyone. We'll get this figured out here. Haven't had this problem before, so I wasn't expecting it. I'll edit this all out in post. One of the reasons why this is often complicated is that we're using the Java version and lots of mods. Oh, I clicked the wrong thing. Wait, did I click the server? I did too quickly. I think. Let's see what I did here. Yeah, I clicked on the wrong thing. This is going great. Ooh. And if you hear some crashing noise in the background, it's because there's demolition occurring right across from us. And it is very loud. Okay. The entire, like, 4-story building is being ripped apart. Ah, failed to connect. Been able to connect?
No. But also, you're the host. You have to jump in single player.
Oh, I see. I was connected. Oh, I see what the problem is. The problem really is I'm trying to connect with the same user. So the server is the laptop right now.
Oh.
Okay. That's the problem. I know what I'm going to. I'm going to move some files around and then this will get going. Just a moment. Here, I will bring up, while I get this ready, can I pull up a photo of the, of that area and you could talk about it a little bit? Let's see here. It won't, or I can pull up whatever photo you'd like. Let's see here. Reference pictures. So I've got Bottomlands. I've got the areas next to it as well.
I'm good to talk about any of it if you choose.
Okay. All right, then I'll pick a picture of the Bottomlands. So these are some of the dioramas in that area. There's a 2-foot waterfall. And I'm cycling over to the area that we're going to be concentrating on recreating today at 1-to-1 scale, by the way. Oh, here. Well, why don't you, were you starting to work on the terrariums in Blockbench?
I was not. I was working on the snapping turtle.
The snapping turtle. Okay, well then let me bring up the snapping turtle.
Okay.
Okay, well here's the area, here's the Bottomlands area, and that includes a snapping turtle, which you can see in this photograph those two people are looking at. Right there. Okay, Audrey, if you'd like to talk about that a little bit while I get these files going.
Sure. So the snapping turtle exhibit, our snapping turtle is the last I heard, our snapping turtle is 80 pounds. But I don't know if she's been on a diet or anything recently. She's a very, very big snapping turtle. And snapping turtles, if you aren't in the US or in North America in general, snapping turtles are a large freshwater turtle that is called a snapping turtle because of their tendency to snap at people. And they have really big mouths and very powerful jaws. They are the bane of many fisher people's existence. Lots of fishers do not like a snapping turtle because they can snap your whole hand off if you aren't careful. They're sort of, in terms of how they exist in the US, they are the way we interact with them is a lot like the way we interact with alligators, which is that we avoid interacting with them if possible. But a snapping turtle mostly stays pretty still, sits at the bottom/edge of a pond. Sometimes they'll hang out in like rivers, but they're mostly pond creatures. They eat fish or really anything that they can fit in their mouths. But it's mostly fish. This particular snapping turtle eats a lot of fish, and also some veggies and fruits, but mostly fish. And we live feed this snapping turtle for enrichment. So we'll drop in some fish for it to chase.
That's important because otherwise, since it lives a very comfortable life, it will just stay in one place continually.
They are what a lot of large reptiles are, which is a sit and wait predator. And sit and wait predators are exactly what it sounds like. They sit and they wait for food, and when it walks by, they'll grab it. That's the way that the majority of large reptiles live their lives.
Also called an ambush predator.
Yes. The snapping turtle, there's two different kinds of snapping turtles in the United States. And I believe the alligator snapper goes all the way down into Central America. Goes into Central America. But the common snapping turtle and the alligator snapping turtle, and they're in two different genera or genuses. The alligator snapping turtle is significantly larger than the common snapping turtle and looks a bit more intimidating. They've got spikes on their shells and spikes on their heads, and
they are very metal.
Yeah. We don't really have alligator snapping turtles in North Carolina naturally. There are some on the coast
maybe
that
like
have sort of
swamp or something.
Yeah, that have sort of expanded out from South Carolina. But alligator snapping turtles are very uncommon here in North Carolina. That's not to say that you should not worry about the common snapping turtle though, because they can absolutely they can get rid of your hand for you if you so desire.
Yes.
This particular snapping turtle only has one eye. So she only has one eye because she is a rescue from, I think, a surrender, like an owner surrender situation, but I'm not positive exactly where she came from. But she is the largest, or she used to be. I believe she is no longer, but she used to be the largest common snapping turtle in captivity. Wow. And in order to take her out for veterinary care, which is what she does the most often, the main reason you would want to pull her out is vet care. You have to coax her onto this big sling hammock that is under the water, and then they use a little miniature like wench system to pull her up out of the water. It looks absolutely ridiculous.
That's so funny.
And it's the safest way to get her out because she will just bite you.
Yeah, so she is or likely was the biggest, but not for a good reason, not because she should have been.
Yes, it's because she was not getting nearly enough exercise and was being overfed. But now she is very healthy and is in a much happier situation. We've had her here for at least 10 or 15 years. But I'm not sure exactly when we got her. There's been a snapping turtle there for as long as I can remember, but I don't know when we got her specifically. But that's what I'm going to be modeling today in Blockbench is our lovely snapping turtle. At least I'm going to try and model it in Blockbench.
I won't make you talk too much.
Yeah, that's the trouble is I have a hard time talking and modeling at the same time.
Oh, that's good to hear. Yeah, they're really. I always like seeing a large wild animal that you don't typically see, whether it's a really big turtle or really big snake or even a big owl.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that's just kind of magical. You're
The
out in the
term for
forest.
that in conservation is a charismatic megafauna.
Let's see here. I'm just playing with some of these settings here. Good to see you, Mondays. Thank you for joining us. Turn some of these settings up here. There we go. If anything is too loud or too dark, just let me know. So, oh, butterflies escaped, it looks like. Excellent. So, what's been going on since we filmed last? I'm not sure how much of this we've shown, but in the Nature Exploration Center, that's the building that's mostly made of stone and glass. There is between the second and third floors a big opening on the third floor, and there's a two-story waterfall and dioramas with a mix of taxidermied animals and live animals, notably the fish. And so you can see that from the bottom level, but you can also see from the top level. We'll go down there in a bit, but first I wanted to walk through here because this area, oh, what do we have? Oh, a salamander, a hellbender got loose, it looks like. This area here, ooh, it's too dark. I need to play with the lighting. Oh, what's this area called, Audrey? Do you remember?
Hold on, let me look at it.
Where the deer are?
Oh, that's
Hellbender?
the Mountain Cove is what it's
Mountain
called.
Cove. So this is a really cool area that I've started building out. That includes some terrariums where we have salamanders and turtles, including the hellbenders. And then we have some terrestrial exhibits here. One of them includes a skunk and deer and birds, predator birds, and scenery of the mountains. Again, mix of live and not live animals. And then there's a real waterfall here. So let's go down to the second floor because that's where we're going to be building today. Oh, Audrey.
Yes.
You see, you know how these are the escalators? Like, these should be escalators?
Yes.
But later they might be. Okay, so on the second floor, yeah, that's where we need to build. Second floor here. This is where you can walk between the exhibits. What's kind of funny about this in particular is that I planted some of these mushrooms and they have been spreading naturally. I think the grass has been spreading too, which I think is pretty funny. Let's start over here by the waterfall. Lighting isn't great yet. Let me just add some temporary lights. Oh yeah, so this waterfall is really great, and there are fish in it. Let me throw a couple of fish. The problem, spilled water. The problem with the fish in this game is that the fish like to jump out. So the closest thing in here would be to what's really there would be the trout.
Did you specify that the problem with the fish in Minecraft specifically, not in the museum itself?
Oh yes, that's right. Yes.
Because we do not have an issue of fish jumping out of our exhibits in real life.
And the main reason for that is that they're small little fish in real life.
And they also don't want to die in the air.
Yeah. So what these guys keep doing in the game, oh, there's a zombie. These guys keep trying to climb up the waterfall, which is pretty appropriate, depending on the time of year, I suppose, but they don't always quite make it back down safely. So I need to work on that. So I had tried a spawner with trout, but it never worked. And I think it's because if I was reading it correctly, for a fish spawner, the spawner has to be at a certain level below sea level before it will work. So that complicates things. I guess we could have one deep down in like a fish tunnel leading all the way up to here. But may end up just making some little tiny minnows that just kind of wiggle in place in block bench. The best solution. Fun fact, I just spilled water all over myself. So I wasn't paying attention. And I didn't have a lid. Always a bad idea. So this area over here, the fish are fine because they don't have anywhere to, they're not inclined to jump out. What this also has here, which I can't really recreate without using Blockbench. Blockbench, by the way, if you don't know, is a third-party program, a free program that you can use to make your own mods. You can make your own creatures, you can make your own blocks, and they can be animated and interactive for free. But that'll only work with the Java version. Wait, no.
No, you can do
yeah.
it. Just it only works as a mod that can be shared with other people
Yeah.
in the Java version. So you can do Blockbench for just your own personal game if you do it in Bedrock, which is
Right.
what Matt originally did.
That's right. It's actually really easy to do it with that for Bedrock. But anyways, yeah, so we need to recreate a beaver dam there with a beaver and a few other little odds and ends here. This fallen tree here should have a really big root ball. And that's actually a part of the exhibit I like because it seems like such a random, unimportant thing to have. But when trees fall over, they become just they become a buffet for certain creatures and also living space for lots of creatures. They're very, very important. Very, very important when trees fall down that they actually are allowed to stay down. So for the decades and decades that they've been absorbing gases in the air, like carbon and nitrogen, once they die, then that gives them the opportunity to release all of them back into the environment, back into the soil, and the creatures can take that up if they need it. It's very, in fact, it's really important for certain places with soil that is not already rich in nutrients. It's really important in rainforests because since it rains often in rainforests, nutrients and soils get washed out really easily, really quickly. So recreating that root ball is something I'll probably also do in Blockbench.
The word for that is oh gosh, micro topography. In forestry, that is micro topography. So it is just like the topography of a hill or a valley, but on a much smaller scale.
So Munzies, I will try that. I think I had it that way to begin with, but they were still jumping out because they were doing what you see them doing there. But let me try it. I'm gonna put up some oh, disaster. I'm gonna put up some temporary lighting here so I can see really well. Okay, so is that, let's make it sure it's nice and level. Doesn't look level over there to me. Oh, it's because the waterfall still exists. Okay. I think that's as level as going to be with the waterfall. And so far they're not going towards it. So maybe that was the key and I thought I had it this way to begin with, but maybe I didn't. Okay, well we'll find out. I don't know why. What happened to my carpet? Does it get ruined when it gets wet? I don't know. Interesting. Oh, what you doing, buddy? Oh, no, they're climbing. So, yes, I'm not sure how to prevent them from climbing. I definitely need to put some more lighting over here. Maybe I'll try some lanterns. Can I put it on this side? Oh, that looks nice. Look at that. That's a cozy waterfall. Cozy. Yes. And mushrooms keep growing out onto the quartz, which you would not expect them to do in real life. And so what I really need to do here is work on an area that we haven't worked on at all yet, which is the Bottomlands, which is right around here. So I'm going to have to map it out. And
What
then
does
flesh it.
Bottomlands mean, Matt?
What's that?
What is that? What is that biome?
Oh.
What is that ecosystem?
Well, first of all, the
Bottomlands.
print finished. It had some layer separation at one point, which isn't great. But here, let me get the supports off and I'll show it. Oh, supports are coming right off. I didn't expect that. That's nice.
Was that the metapod?
Yes. All right. Now, Audrey said it, but does anyone recognize this goofy thing? You know your Pokemon. Now, how did it go?
Huh?
How did it go on a Pokemon show? Can you guess the face on the
Who's
silhouette?
that Pokemon?
It's that Pokemon. Metapod. It's I'm printing some more bug. So the theme of Bugfest is Lepidoptera. That includes butterflies and moths, and so we're printing those. But also, I found this chrysalis, the chrysalis stage of this Pokemon, which looks a lot like a caterpillar beforehand, and then it turns into that form. So did that just for fun because everyone is surprised to see Pokemon in a science museum. So we like to have lots of little Easter eggs like that. All right, so I've got to pull up a floor plan here. I can figure out the boundaries of the bottomland. And so, yes, I need to define bottomland. So the bottomland is land that is pretty close to a waterway, like a stream or big creek. It's flat and it is level enough that it becomes inundated occasionally when the water body floods. So it's not soaking wet, it's not standing water all the time, but it does occasionally happen. And so there are certain types of plants and animals that like to live in those types of environments, like turtles, aquatic turtles. And I'll show you a few pictures of that exhibit. And that exhibit is, again, a mix of live animals and then recreations, models. So this area here is the Bottomlands area. This first tank here is a tank full of very large gar, and the tank over here has the snapping turtle. There's the gar. I have some close-ups of that I can show you. That's across from it. There, and so we have some trees here, and one of the unique features that certain types of trees have that live in areas that are underwater a lot of the time or very, very wet a lot of the time is that they splay out towards the bottom. That's called buttressing. And that's an important adaptation that helps the tree remain standing during high winds. Because you can imagine if the soil's really wet, that during high winds, it's easy for things to get blown over. Well, if the tree has these buttresses at the bottom, then it has a wider surface area, and you can imagine it's harder for them to fall over or be blown over.
The buttresses are named after the architectural element rather than the other way around, which I think is silly
Yeah.
because the trees were there first.
Yes. Yes. Some of the most famous examples you'll find of buttressing and built with in regards to architecture would be with Gothic architecture, like very large old churches that would become ridiculously tall, and so they would need some additional supports to keep them from toppling over, and they would become design aspects. They would add all sorts of details to them. It's fine. Anyways, at the end of it is this really cool tree that I really like, that you can go into, and inside of it, you look up and you see little bats hanging. They're not live, or not anymore at least. But it's a good example of some of the little brown bats that we have in North Carolina that are a very common sight. The sun, just after the sun sets, to see them out among the trees, catching mosquitoes and moths and other insects out of the air. And there's a good display that shows how scientists find the bats and how they research them, and how there's a little device here that is interactive that they use to hear the bats' clicks, because bats click at a frequency that our ears have not evolved to be able to hear, because they didn't have a reason to. If lions or other predators like that made sounds at that frequency, it would have been in our best interest to have evolved the ability to hear that as well. But they don't, so we didn't. All right, and then here's the gar tank. I really like the gar tank because it's very large, and the gar are really fun to watch swimming around. They're very, very slow, very thoughtful creatures, and they're an ancient creature. What's that?
And they look very silly.
They do look silly. They have very long snoots, and they are very, very old. You can find fossils of gars or gar-like creatures from before the dinosaurs. Swamp. And then the last part of this exhibit I'll mention for now is the siren. Audrey, can you talk about the siren a little bit? Because I know you like it.
Absolutely. If you are a super fan, you may recall that somebody asked us what our favorite animals on exhibit were, and my favorite animal on exhibit is probably the greater siren. I love this little salamander. It's an entirely aquatic salamander, just like our giant salamander, the hellbender. They're another large salamander. I don't think she's actually in that picture.
I don't see her, but I'm getting a picture ready. Okay, this is gonna be good. I hope y'all are ready. Here it is. Look at her. Fantastic.
Yeah. So the siren is look at that face.
I know.
It's so cute.
Yeah, it is.
And when it's eating the algae, it looks like a little cow. Because of the shape of the face. I mean, I just think that they're adorable. They look like puppies, kind of. But the siren is a native giant well, they're not considered giant salamanders, but they're very big. They're like a foot to a foot and a half long. And they're more eel-like. So they have reduced limbs, and they are more closely related to the Amphiuma, which is another salamander that looks super weird. It only has two little nubbins for legs instead of full legs. But the siren likes deep, cold, still water. And they are you'll find them in these bottomlands. Specifically, here in North Carolina, you'll find them in the sandhills, in the bottomlands in the sandhills. They particularly like that that kind of water. The sirens, you'll see the difference, the big difference between the siren and the hellbender is that you can see those gills on the outside, like an axolotl. You can see the gills on the outside of an axolotl. That is an adaptation to being a still water salamander rather than a rushing water salamander. So still water salamanders need much more elaborate gills because they need to get a lot more oxygen, and there is less available oxygen, dissolved oxygen as it's called, in still water because it's not bumping around over rocks and getting bubbles trapped inside of it as nearly as often as a fast-flowing creek. So that's part of it. It's also because the ponds tend to be a little bit warmer than streams, because the sun will heat up that still water, and warm water doesn't hold on to oxygen as well as cool water does, because it just evaporates out really quickly. But the pond salamanders, like the siren, have to have these elaborate extra gill structures on the outside to get all of the oxygen that they need. The genus name for the hellbender comes from that idea. It's called Cryptobranchus, and the hellbender genus is Cryptobranchus, which means hidden gills or hidden lungs. So that's what made them realize that the hellbender is special and different from these other large aquatic salamanders.
Excellent. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
I have what I need.
I could talk about salamanders forever.
That's fine. You can talk about as much as you want. Looking at your progress. You've got some reference images. Yeah. Nice.
I don't know how I feel about the legs.
It's pretty blocky. It's like what do they remind me of? Nutcracker legs. Okay, so let's see here. There are the stairs. Figuring out where I'm going to be putting. Okay. Got to get everything in just the right location. I'll have trouble later. Sometimes I have to make compromises. So right over here is where the bottomlands is going to be. I think the aisle. No, the aisle needs to be about at least that. At least that. So I know this should be glass, but I'm just using these temporarily. Just temporarily. Let's see how far I'm going to go here. I think I'm just going to go that far with it. Yeah, I may have to edit that later, but I think that this is going to work. There's plenty of room over here for the other exhibit, which, what is it called? It goes over the different soil types of North Carolina and different types of wood that you can, trees that grow in North Carolina. I've forgotten what that area is called, but I have a picture of it. Okay. Yes, that looks good and that feels good. Yes, an axolotl is a type of salamander. Was the question?
Axolotls are an aquatic salamander. There's a couple of different like big kinds of salamanders. But the two major kinds are newts and salamanders, but they're both salamanders. It's just a frog and toad situation.
Yeah.
Axolotls are an endangered salamander that lives in Mexico. They live in Mexico City, actually. They originally lived where Mexico City still stands, or currently stands. If you want to know more about axolotls, you can go back to our first episode, and I will tell you all about
That's right.
axolotls. Or you can come to the museum and ask me questions, and I will tell you even more.
Yes, that's right. Either way. All right, so this is where the gar is. This will be replaced with a block bench terrarium, probably.
Well, welcome, Lifer. Lifer said that they have never seen a museum streaming Minecraft before. We're not doing one of our challenges today. If you go back to some of our previous episodes, right now this is just a build and chat. We're working on building our whole museum, the North Carolina Museum of Natural Sciences, replicating it in Minecraft. What I'm doing right now is I'm messing around on Blockbench, trying to build one of our exhibit animals, the common snapping turtle.
Yes, you will. I don't think you'll find anyone else doing something like this. We're making the museum. This isn't a fictional museum. This is a real museum that we're building. Not only are we building the museum, but we are inside the museum in real life. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Lifer.
And then when we're done, we'll put it online for anyone to download.
Yes. We're still talking about whether we'll have it as a whatchamacallit, as a, what are those called?
A mod pack?
Well, no, we're definitely doing the mod pack. Whether we will have a
set up for other
server,
people?
A server.
Yeah.
A server for people to access. It's kind of a lot of maintenance, but might be cool to have up sometimes.
Okay, so the gar tank is here. Snapping turtle tank is there. What was that noise? Oh, no. Snapping turtle tank is there. There's a tree there, a big tree there, another big tree here. Maybe I should. It's really challenging getting everything to look the way it should when you're dealing with blocks of this size. Yeah, see, that's too big.
Which is why we do things in Blockbench. Or part of why we
Okay. All right, that looks right. Some stone. You can see the reference image I'm basing this off of. Yeah. And then there's a column here. So bottomlands are in the floodplain, and there's a saying that came about after a lot of disaster, and that is that you're not supposed to build in the floodplain. A lot of people used to like to build in the floodplain because it's often very flat land, and you don't often find a lot of trees.
There's also a lot of nutrients in a floodplain.
Yeah. But people will still grow their crops in floodplains. and hope that they don't get flooded. But hopefully they don't build in them anymore like they used to, because they will get flooded. See, that's looking pretty decent. Okay, now this will be water in here. I'll probably put some real water in here. The exhibit just has resin. Yeah. Let's see. I
A
need
classic example of a floodplain, a city in a floodplain, is Cairo. The entirety of Cairo is in the Nile floodplain. It's a really nice place to build. It's nice and flat. It's nice and easy to transport goods along the river. A lot of advantages to building in the floodplain, but with big storms, it becomes more and more dangerous to live in a place like that. Got distracted for a second watching you build instead of working on my thing.
I understand. It's pretty relaxing watching others build. I've seen a lot of I've seen advertised a lot of videos of people just like quiet builds, no talking, for like 100 hours or 200 or 100 days or 200 days. That should be mud. I need to replace that with mud. Yeah, the mud isn't black enough though, so I'm going to go, ooh, muddy mangrove roots. That's perfect. That looks great. It's probably going to leak through to the floor below, but it'll be worth it. Some temporary lighting. Just temporary. All right, muddy mangrove. Yeah, that looks great. Yes. So the Bottomlands is a transition area. I mean, technically every area is a transition area. But it transitions between the water body and the uplands, which would be just the land that is further uphill and not flooded. Okay. Let's see. I guess I'll put that there. And this can take some water now. Some water in here, get nice and even.
I'm gonna start working on the texture.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm actually happy with the way that it currently is, but I think I will be able to figure out exactly what I want once I have.
Are you actually going to use a image editor to do the texture?
No, I'm doing it here in Blockbench.
Okay, good. Yeah, I think that would be fine.
Although this, I think I have to raise the texture size to 32.
Put that back for now. Change this out to be mud too. Oh. I'm flooding the museum. Flooding the museum. There we go. That's better. Dope. Nope. Again, this is a good time for anyone that has any questions about anything related to museums or science, nature, technology. Ask any questions you might have.
Ask about Minecraft, but we probably won't know the answer.
Yeah. We might not. Well, we can answer questions about this build.
This particular project,
Yes.
certainly.
But maybe not Minecraft in general.
I mean, I can pull up the Minecraft wiki if need be.
Yeah, let's see. Okay, I guess I need to get some leaves on these trees. Think. Let's see what would look best. I guess the spruce leaves. Are there any? If there's any evergreen leaves. The spruce looks pretty close. Let's try that. Oh, heck. So this tree needs to go up further. All the way up to the ceiling.
All right, that's a lot more doable.
The other function that the trees and aquatic plants in general perform when they're in the water like this or really close to it is they take up nitrogen.
And they release dissolved oxygen like we were talking about before.
It's important for the health of the water. See here, put a tree. It's a tree about right there. I know the tree species I use don't always make sense, but I just try to pick whatever looks closest to what's actually there.
Yeah, we're looking more at aesthetic than actual material for some of these, but some of these, the material is more important.
One more tree here, maybe here.
Put all of the. This is a little puzzle that I'm doing with myself, where I am trying to figure out exactly how to arrange the UV overlay pieces on my texture.
Yes.
So that it makes the most amount of sense.
I know the struggle. Okay, this is looking pretty good. I think this aquarium needs to be taller. Yes. All right, I'm gonna look at some more of the pictures here. Oh, let me. Okay, that looks better. Oops. Sun is starting to. All right, so here. Oh, so there should be a column. There should be a column there, but I don't think I'm going to do it. The siren terrarium, aquarium, is right here. Yeah, right there. Yeah, so that's where the sirens go. And then this is an archway here to another section. I'll do that. Or I'll just throw the block. Okay, so that sort of looks like that. Not exactly the way it is, but it's pretty close. All right, this floor will all be stone, and then there's carpeting. Let me grab the stone that I used already. I think I started using one. Yes. Oh, yeah, just regular stone. Okay. Make it a little brighter. The snapping turtle's one of the cool things about the snapping turtle is it's usually right up next to the glass. You can get nose to nose with it.
And she doesn't have any depth perception. She does not have
That's
two
right.
eyes.
I don't know why I didn't realize it only has one eye. Should have. Okay, that's looking better already. It's always such a big improvement when you do the floor. Like, look at that. Doesn't that look, that's starting to look,
Tail, isn't it? Yeah.
I think.
Those are the feet. That's the tail. This is what? That's the neck.
Some different pictures here. Gar. Oh, let's get some cypress knees. Okay, so there are some cypress trees in there with their little knees. Those are like the little, look like little stumps coming out of the water there. They're part of the root system of the tree.
The way that I had the cypresses, the way that I built the cypresses outside was I used dripstone as the cypress knees.
Okay. Dripstone.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so that's all right. Can you get it so that it's pointy end up? Just like a stalactite.
So just grab
right?
a pointed dripstone and then put it on the ground.
Oh, there's a pointed dripstone and a dripstone block.
The
That's
dripstone blocks
interesting.
will create dripstone under them with water, I think, if
Oh,
water
cool.
is. Yeah.
That's
It's
neat.
like it's like limestone.
Oh, these are perfect.
Yeah.
Can I grow them? Do they get any bigger?
I don't think
Wow, these are
so.
great. Okay. Excellent. Okay. So I've got that. I'll put some, I always like to add some seagrass. One of the things that the exhibit has that you can see in that picture there, you can see green on top of the water. It might be hard to tell with that small image. That is not algae, that is duckweed. Duckweed is a really cool little floating plant. It basically looks just like a little tiny leaf on the surface of the water, just a few millimeters across, like a quarter to eighth of an inch, and with what look like little roots dangling down. And they're very important. They're a good food source for a lot of creatures. And again, they also help take up nutrients like nitrogen out of the water. And they are, some members of that species are the smallest flowering plants in the world, last I heard. So they're really cool. I like recreating exhibits that are just still and giving them movement by actually adding creatures.
Mm-hmm.
Can I put it there? No. Okay. And there aren't any lily pads in this exhibit, so I would really like to put some in there, but I don't see any. There are a couple birds, a duck, kind of heron, and there is some land. I should do that. It's not completely, oh shoot. Do that. There, that's good. That's good. Okay. That's good. And you don't, if I put a frog in the water, it's not going to stay there, right?
No.
No, that's too bad.
Yeah, because of the way you can't have a bucket of frogs. But if you have a bucket of tadpoles, they will eventually turn into frogs, and those should not despawn because buckets, things from buckets supposedly don't despawn.
Okay. Well, I guess I'm just going to I'll just put one fish in there from now from a bucket. Yeah. Not a lot of room in there for happy animals. Let's see, what else should I put in here? Again, these tall glass blocks here will be replaced with aquariums. Go this way. Better close up of the bottomlands. Great. Okay. Okay, so that's a not too bad of a representation. I'll probably play with it some more later. Yeah, I like that. And this actually needs to be walled off. Do that. Oh. Okay, maybe I'll extend it out to here. Wait, hold on. There. There are some you can see that there are various dioramas, and I will be adding them as I can using another mod that allows you, there are various mods that allow you to add images of whatever you and onto like a picture frame. So I'll be doing that. Let's see here. Okay. All right, so it is not as wide as it should be, but that's just a function of how I built this building to begin with. Perfectly, but it'll work. Let's see, what else do I need to add to this area? I can do the ceiling. Ceiling needs to be black. And I can add some strategic lighting. Oh, this is a neat exhibit. Well, this whole area here is neat. This is, these terrariums contain tree frogs, carnivorous plants, ferns, and a toad. And then this terrarium right here has legless lizards in it. If you haven't seen a legless lizard before, here are a couple of them. These pictures aren't great. It was just starting to burrow its head down, but it basically looks like a snake. The main giveaway, if you're really familiar with snake faces, if you looked at the face of one of these fellows, it'd be pretty obvious that something was off. I think I do have a better picture. Let me see here. If you look close enough, you'll see that they have eyelids and blink their eyes. And snakes
The
do
big
not.
giveaway, the easy one or the easier one is that they have ears.
Oh, yes. Thought I had a better picture of it, but I guess I don't right here anyways. Okay. Fine. Here for a second. Okay, so I'm going to add this area. Then I will start replacing the ceiling if it doesn't cause too much damage. Oh yeah, that area is just right there, isn't it?
Like
Yeah, just right there. Oh, that's perfect. Okay, good. And then we'll be signing off. Be signing off in about 10 minutes. Okay, so I want this. And I've got glass blocks. Yeah. Maybe slabs for benches. This is perfect. This worked out well. This is too tall, but do you think when you make the terrariums, like say the carnivorous plant one, just one of them, do you think you can recreate it well enough within one block?
I can try.
Like, do you think you can get things small enough to kind of, or I should say like one block high?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think I can do that.
Okay. And let's see, let's look at the slabs here. So this will be for the bench, and then a top piece be that. Oops. That's pretty close to the way that it is. Don't know if I like that though. Yeah, probably leave it at that. So then this will contain the terrarium on the left contains carnivorous plants. So you've got some Venus flytraps, which are really cool because they're native to North Carolina, and it's the only place in the entire world where you will find Venus flytraps. There are pitcher plants, which are these really cool plants that hold water. And then insects are, I can talk about for quite a while, but this is just a quick rundown. Insects are attracted into the plant where they fall into the water and digested. And their nutrients are absorbed. And then there are sundews, which are these really cool plants that look kind of, oftentimes they look like they have tentacles with little drops of dew on them. And it's actually a very sticky substance. When insects land on them, the little hairs covered in dew will wrap around them and just digest them right there. There are butterworts, which just look like very nondescript, low plants with broad,
I think
fleshy
butterworts
leaves.
look like succulents.
Yes,
They look
do.
like those, like the hen and chicks succulents, or
Sure.
oh gosh, I can't remember the genus names. I used to know a bunch of genus names for
We
those,
actually have
but
a gar.
I think they look a lot like succulents, but they're a little bit sticky.
Yes, if you touched it, you would be very surprised.
They're called pinguiculas.
Mm.
Is their genus name?
Yeah, so the stickiness, insects become trapped, very small insects become trapped by the stickiness. It's like kind of like flypaper, and then are digested there on the leaf. They don't move much. The outer edges of the leaves can curl up a little bit in case it rains. The insects don't get washed out, but they just kind of sit there. There's bladderworts, and there are bladderworts are are a cool plant because you don't ever hear about them, you don't ever see them, but they are one of the most successful plants in the entire world. They're on, I think, every continent except Antarctica. They can be aquatic, they can be terrestrial, and they're small. You oftentimes don't see them until they flower, but they have these little pouches that when they're empty, have these little lids on them and are just not filled with anything. There's a vacuum. So if they're in the water, if something swims by one of the little bladders, it'll trigger one of their little, they have these little hairs near the lids of the bladder. If those little hairs are triggered, then the lid of the bladder will flip open. And then because it's a vacuum inside, whatever's nearby will rush in to fill up the bladder, and then the lid will close. And then the creature, the microorganism usually, will be trapped inside and digested. There's a lot to the world of carnivorous plants. I think they're fascinating.
Well, we can do a whole carnivorous plant specific episode.
Yes.
Easily.
Yes, I think we should do a special one about that after we have some good models. Okay, I actually do have, there is a gar. I'm going to put it in here, even though this isn't where it should be. I guess for now, I'll give them a little bit more space.
Hybrid Aquatic had some gar. But alas, we cannot use Hybrid Aquatic anymore.
Yeah, aquaculture.
Mm.
Which I don't even remember that mod, but it has gar. And well, that's it. Yeah. Okay. But there's a gar. And you know what? I could put a turtle in here for now. It might eat the fish. Let's see here. What kind of turtles
Is there
do I
a
have?
snapping turtle? There might already be a snapping turtle.
There probably is. I'm looking.
In which case, it's probably better than mine. I have not done a lot with the texture yet, but...
It's all right. Well, now, so the turtles, they come as eggs or the creature itself. There isn't like a bucket of turtle.
I believe the creature itself is the one that you use. That you're supposed to use for
Okay.
non-whatever. For not, despawning.
Well, there's not a snapping turtle. There are box turtles and then soft shells, unfortunately.
I think that the tortoises in the naturalist one look pretty snapping turtle-esque, but I don't know if they will live in the water or not.
Yeah, probably
I think they
not.
probably won't.
They shouldn't, because they
They'll
wouldn't.
drown.
There we go. I put a little turtle in there. Those soft shell turtle models are fantastic.
Yeah, they're so cute.
Okay, so we got all the creatures in there.
I don't think we have any softshell turtles on display to my knowledge, but we do have softshell turtles in our in the program animals or the ambassador animals. So for specific programs, we have some softshells, or we used to. I don't know if we still do.
Soft shell turtles are also the bane of fishermen.
Yes,
I remember how frustrating and distressing it is to catch a soft shell turtle inadvertently. It's not good for anyone, especially the turtle.
Yeah, I can imagine that being very upsetting.
Okay. So this should just be a white column, but I really don't like the way that it looks. I'm changing it. Yes, that looks much better. Much better. Okay, now let's add some... I'm going to add... Oh, I'll change the ceiling first and then the lighting, because if I do the lighting first, the ceiling color will change the light. Look at the lighting. So the ceiling here is just black. Oops. Well, I just want black concrete. What's that? Oh, black terracotta. It's cool. Let's see what's right above us here. I guess I'll just do this. Ooh. Ooh, ooh. Destroying carpet. Okay, this is fine. This is windows on the world where there are demonstrations. This is tropical connections where there's tropical creatures. I don't know if this pains you all as much as it pains me to hear the sound of the carpet being destroyed above. I spent so long adding. I have to go back up there and recarpet. You all are wondering why we're not being very cool and doing this in survivor mode. That is because we don't want to take the time. We don't want to take the time to. That's not what this is about. This is about just making the museum and talking about it.
We do also have other portions of our job that are not playing Minecraft.
Yeah.
That we do have to dedicate some time to.
Now we will jump into Survivor if we come up with the past episodes. We always do some kind of challenge, and as we come up with them in the future, we'll jump into Survivor because then it makes it more interesting. But if we're just, oh no, there's another butterfly. They're somehow getting out. Okay, it's looking good. Let me take care of these. A lantern. There. Well, that's a good place for a lantern. Oh, the turtle's on the land. It's a good place for a lantern. And oh, I can't put one there. Okay. Put a lantern here. Okay. Where else do I need to put one? I need to put one there. Ah, I think that looks pretty decent. Yeah. Again, it's not as wide as I'd like it to be. If I was making it from scratch and didn't have to worry about everything else that goes into the building, then I would make it wider. But there are a lot of other things that need to go in the building. I think that one of the next really fun things that we'll work on a stream will be this area here. This is going to be a lot of fun. This, in real life, suspended here are whale skeletons. Full-size real whale skeletons. There's a sperm whale and a blue whale and a manatee. And I think that there might be another whale. I don't remember what it is, if there is.
Isn't the right whale over there?
Well, I mean, do we have two right whales? That's what it is in the other building.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know either. But we will find that out.
We will know by the time we talk about it.
And it will look amazing.
Guaranteed.
Yes, guaranteed. All right, well, we need to wrap this up now. If anyone watching has any final questions, now is the only time because we're going to end it here in a minute. Otherwise,
you can always leave comments down below and ask questions. And we will get to those at a future stream, or we will respond to them when we see them.
Yes. So
for those of you who are watching in the future, in the far-flung future.
Yes. So with that, thank you for watching, everyone. We're going to end it now. Hope you enjoyed this stream. We're going to keep working on this museum little bit by little bit, and you get to watch the process. When we're done, you'll be able to explore it as well. There's a salamander right below my character coming up to me. That's great. Thank you all. We'll see you next time. Have a good rest of your day. Goodbye.
Bye, everybody.